네.
몇 명 올 때까지. 나도 이거 처음이라서 못할 거야. 좀 봐줘.
저희가 링크 구글에다가 그 카톡으로 온 거를 진짜로 직접 써서 들어왔어요.
그 하나하나 다 써서.
네.
와, 대단하다.
그거 말고는 들어올 방법이 없어가지고.
컴퓨터에 카카오톡 깔 수 있는데.
맞아.
제가 아직 그걸 못 깔아가지고
어,
용량 이런 거랑 또 뭐 좀 그래가지고.
5시 3분? 3분쯤까지 기다려보고
네.
그때 시작하자.
네.
혹시 그냥 클래스룸에 URL 복사해놨는데 올릴까요?
그러고 싶어?
아니 뭐 못 들어온 친구들 혹시나 이걸로 들어올 수 있을까 싶어서요.
그래? 나는 좋지. 그렇게 해주면. 일단 나는 카메라 안 켜도 돼. 안 켜고 싶으면. 왜냐면 나도 이거 쓰면서 카메라가 꺼지거든. 그래서 나도 안 켤 거니까 굳이 니네들도 켤 필요는 없고. 근데 하나는 말을 했으면 좋겠어. 마이크는 이제 켜고 얘기했으면 좋겠어. 그게 좋을 것 같아.
네.
5시 3분이니까 시작해보자. 이게 자, 다 보여?
네.
네, 보여요.
자, 이렇게 해보자. 조경이지? 고마워, 이거 올려줘서.
아니.
나는 이제 영어를 쓸게. Because this is an English math class. Okay, so we're gonna talk about polynomial arithmetic. Do you know what that is? Polynomial arithmetic. 처음 들어봐? 아이고,
그러는 봤는데 잘 모르겠어요.
왜 그러지? So polynomial arithmetic, it's pretty easy, I think, in my opinion.
도형인가?
이걸 어떻게 고정할지 몰라서 미안해. 자, okay. Polynomial, it means many, and poly means many, nobial means terms. So arithmetic is, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We all know what that is. So in polynomial arithmetic, it's like the basis of algebra 2, okay? So we're gonna cover the foundations of algebra 2 and then do more complicated stuff. Do you guys know what average rate is?
Yeah.
Average rate, right?
Yep.
You've heard of it? Yeah. Do you know the equation for average rate?
equation?
There's an equation for average rate.
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that what I think is right, but to get the average, add everything and divide it by how many sections of them. Those things.
That's the mean.
Average. Yeah.
That's the mean. That's the average value. That's
Oh.
very good. But it's very similar to the average mean, I guess. So
Okay.
let's take a function, for example, f of x equals, let's say x cubed plus 2x plus 1, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to try to find the average rate of this function. Let's say from -2 to 1. What does this mean? These are restricted boundaries. So if there's a graph, and let's say we graph this function, x cubed plus 2x plus 1. I'm not sure what the graph would look like, but it would look something like this, right?
Yeah.
And what we mean by this is we find the average rate from -2 to 1. So that's -2, that's 1. There's 1 point, and that's another point. And we find the slope of this line. Okay?
Yeah.
How we do that is we can use a table, or we can just use an equation, which I'll introduce next. Y equals f of x. So our first point is -2, and our second point is 1. That's what we're trying to find. So if we plug in -2 for x, what do we get for y? Or for f of x, for this function?
-11.
-11.
Yeah.
-2 cubed plus 2, -2 plus 1, right? So -8, -4, yeah, -11. And if we plug it in for f of 1, what would we get?
4.
4?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's 4, right?
Yeah.
So the average rate is the change in y over the change in x. That's the main thing. So here we see that from y to x, we increased by 15, right?
Yeah.
And from the x value, we increased by 3. So what's our change in y? 15. Delta y is 15. And delta x is 3. So the average rate of this function is 5. From -2 to 1. From these intervals. That's what we get. So the slope would actually look something more like this. That would be around 1. Because it's 5.
Yeah.
So that's what average rate is. Let's do a practice problem. Race. If I told you to find the average rate of g of x, which is 2x cubed minus 3x, from the boundaries -3 to 2, what would be my first step?
Oh. Okay.
Find average rate. 도경이 빼고 다른 애들도 말해봐.
We have to find the average rate, so we have to put -3 into the equation.
Right? So if we find -3, what do we get? I think we get something around -45, right? Yeah. I think -45. What's our second step?
Again.
Wait, what? Can one of you guys speak at a time? Second step.
You have to plug in 2.
Right? You plug in 2 for G. So what would that be? What number would I get?
10.
10, yeah. So we found G of -3 and G of 2. But how does that help us find average rate? What's our third step?
You have to find the change of y and change of x.
Right? Change of y and change of x. So what's our change in y and what's our change in x?
35. I mean, no, 55.
55? Is that our change in y or change in x?
Oh,
55? That's a change in something, but
is it? That's our y, I think.
why? Right? Because we plugged in -3 and 2. -3 and 2, these are our x. These are our x values.
Oh,
Because we're given those values. So what would our change in x be?
5.
Five? 5. Well, yeah, 5. So since our equation, well, our temporary equation, there's actually another equation. I'll explain after this step. Our equation is delta y over delta x. Oh, by the way, delta, this triangle, it's a Greek symbol, or is it Greek? I don't know. It's a symbol, and it just means change.
Oh,
So change of y, change of, I guess. So delta y over delta x is 55 over 5, so 11.
yep.
Yeah.
11 is the slope.
11 is the slope, yeah. So if we graph this function, if we graph it, then 2x cubed would look, I'm not sure, but if we graph this slope, this line connecting the two dots at -3 here, and 2 here, this would have a slope of 11. So I guess if it asks find the average rate, it's the same thing as asking find the slope.
Oh,
right? If
got
that's
it.
easier for you to understand. But
Yeah,
it's good to memorize it like this because slope is going to be used in a lot of other things. But it's the same concept. You're right. You're finding the slope. So
got it.
delta y and delta x, that is your normal equation, but the actual equation that you'll probably see, average value or average rate, I guess, is going to be f of b minus f of a over b minus a for some interval b a. It's the same thing as delta y of delta x, but see here it plugs it in for you. So this is not BA, it's AB, I'm sorry. So we plug in B for this, and we plug in A for here, and we do B minus A. This becomes delta Y, and this becomes delta X. Pretty simple, right?
I have a question.
Yeah?
Does the order affect the answer?
Yes, the order does affect the answer. So let me not delete that. So if you put f of a minus f of b.
Yeah.
I mean, so it actually doesn't, but if you switch both of them, it doesn't.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you do it like this,
Yeah.
so f of a minus f of b over a minus b, then you'll still get the same answer as this. But usually, you do the second interval, the last interval, the right end interval first, because we know that the equation of a slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right?
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing. So,
Oh.
yeah, that's what you do.
Okay.
Good question, though. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, we're going to rush through Algebra 2 because we have a lot to cover. So if you guys have trouble or you think we're going too fast or anything, if you have anything to say, go for it, because we're going to cover a lot of material in a short time. So this next thing we're going to learn is adding and subtracting polynomials. That's really bad handwriting. This is really easy. So that's why I'm going through this lesson really fast. If we have a function, f of x, let's say f of x is negative 3x squared plus 5x minus 1. And we have another function, let's say g of x. Let's say this is 2x squared plus, actually you guys help me finish this equation. What number should I put here?
1.
1, so just x, okay. What number should I put here?
3.
3. 3 is a good number. I like 3. Okay, so let's say the problem said to add f of x to g of x. What you want to do is simply just add. There's nothing really difficult to it, right? This is what we have to do. So since it's a positive sign, our parentheses don't really matter because they're not going to change the signs of any monomials in this polynomial. So we just have to combine like terms. So we see there's an x squared here, and there's another x squared here. So if we have negative 3 of something and add it to 2 of something, we're going to get negative 1 of something, right? So negative x squared. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. We have an x here and an x here. So 5 of something plus 1 of something remember x is just 1x, is gonna give us 6x. And we have a 3 here and a -1 here. If we add -1 and 3, we get a +2. That's it. That's how you add polynomials. What if it told you to subtract f of x minus g of x? -3x squared plus 5x minus 1 minus this function. What do you think we have to do here?
We need to change all of them.
Right? You have to change all the signs.
Yeah.
So this is called the distributive property. We just distribute the negative, right? So if I write this, it's going to be -3x squared plus 5x minus 1. I'll delete the parentheses. Minus 1 minus 2x squared minus x minus 3. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And we do the same thing as above. We have to combine like terms. So we have a x squared term here and another x squared term here. So -3 plus -2 is going to give -5x squared. We have an x here and a -x here. So 5 plus -1 is going to give us
4x.
4x. Nice. And -1 plus -3 is going to give us -4. Right? This is really easy, right?
Yeah.
Is this too easy for you? Or if it's too hard for you,
I'm from
you can
Korea.
say.
Just
Oh.
last semester, so I learned this when I was 6th grade.
6th grade. Okay.
I don't know in English, so I think this is a good time to review.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is, I guess, the first lesson, so it should be easy. We'll get into harder stuff if this is too easy. So let's make up a function, h of x. Give me a number, just any number.
8.
8. I heard an 8. And
12.
12. One more.
5.
5. You guys like positive numbers. Okay. And let's do f of x again. Another number.
-4.
-4. Yeah. One more. 2 more, but yeah.
6.
6? Did someone say 6? I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Yeah, 6. Okay. One more.
7.
7. Nice. Nobody went over 10 except 12, which is funny. Okay. So let's try this. H of x minus f of x. I think you guys can do this in your head, right? What would our first coefficient be? This is called a coefficient, by the way. The thing that's in front of the variable.
Oh, 12.
12?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And our second
And
coefficient?
6.
6. Nice. Positive
And
6.
-2.
And our constant? -2.
-2.
Right. This is called a coefficient.
Oh.
And this is called a constant. Because in a constant, there isn't x, right? There's nothing. So this is just called a constant. This is really easy for you guys. Okay, we're moving on to multiplying. Multiplying monomials by polynomials. Okay. 4x squared multiplied by 3x cubed minus 2x plus 5. Do you guys know how to do this?
Distribute.
You
Okay.
Distribute.
them.
Yeah. So you distribute the 4x squared
Yeah.
to the three terms. So our first digit is 4x squared times 3x cubed plus 4x, our second term would be 4x squared times negative 2x. And our third term would be 4x squared times 5, right?
Yep.
So our first term would be
12x.
12x to the fifth, right?
Yeah.
Negative 8x cubed and plus 20x squared. Just in case you guys might, just in case nobody, like, if you guys didn't know this, like,
I understand.
anybody who's not talking, when you multiply exponents, you multiply exponents when you're multiplying. You add them like this. You add the coefficients if it's an addition. It's just exponent laws. Yeah. So once I erase this, since you guys are so good at this, let's do something with big numbers. 5x cubed and 12x to the fourth minus 2x. What if I added a 0 there? Plus 4. That doesn't really help, right? Can't confuse you guys. You guys are too smart. So what would our first step be here? Distribute. So let's see if you guys can do this without me writing everything down. Our first term, what would it be?
60x to the 7.
To the seventh. Nice. Our second term,
Negative 10x.
negative 10.
4x 4.
X to the fourth. Nice. And our third and last term,
4x.
20.
20.
20. Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
20 and
X cubed.
x cubed, right? Yeah. Why are you guys so smart? I don't think I was smart. Like you're smart when I was your age. Okay, let's do binomials multiplying binomials by polynomials. Binomials. So binomials are where multiplication gets a bit more difficult. So let's say 4x squared plus 2 times 3x squared minus 4. Do you guys, I'm guessing you guys already know how to do this one too. What would our first step be?
We do the front one first.
If we had one first?
What is distribute?
Distribute, right? What would we distribute?
The 4x squared to the 3x squared.
4x squared to the 3x squared? Oh, so
No.
you guys learned it by FOIL, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. If you don't know what FOIL is, it's first
Out.
outside. Correct me if I'm
Inside.
wrong. Inside, yeah, nice.
Last.
Inside and last, nice. So what this means is we multiply the first terms, first, outside terms, inside terms, and last terms. I think this is a good method, but you're using an equation, like you're using an algorithm that somebody teaches, like you just follow that algorithm every time you see this. So I think it's good to know what's going behind this. So what you're essentially doing is you're distributing the same thing. You distribute 4x squared with 3x minus 4 and 2 to 3x minus 4. It's the same step, except it's written differently. So this would be 4x squared times 3x squared minus 4 plus 2, 3x squared minus 4. Whoa. Yeah. So, and then we just have to multiply the monomial by the binomial again, right? So what would this be?
12x.
12x
12x, what? 12x
to the
what?
power of 4.
To the power of 4, right? And then that,
16, negative 16,
negative 16,
x squared.
x squared, nice. Wait, is your guys' screen like blacking
No,
too? Is that just me? Okay. And that's our next step,
6x squared.
6x squared, right? And what would that be?
Minus 8.
Minus 8. Nice. And we now have to simplify or combine like terms. We see a x squared here and a x squared here. So we just simplify that to negative 10x squared minus 8. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my screen is like blacking out. Oh no, this is not good. Okay. Let's try special products now. Special products. This is not working.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm.